Welcome to Penelope's Playground. I'm Allison from QuiltNCode, and this is a brand new Mini Quilt Block of the Week video series. Before you begin any project, you have to have the right tools for the job. Quilting doesn't really take that many tools, so I'm going to demonstrate the ones that I find essential. Number one is I need my cutting mat. I like to use a good quality cutting mat. I have actually two, but this one is one of my favorites, so I've brought this one out. And then I have my rotary cutter. It does not matter what kind of rotary cutter you use, except if you're using the Stripology rulers. If you are using Stripology rulers, you want to make sure that you have the blade that stays open, okay? I have my Stripology rulers because I am a professional stripper, and these are the only rulers I use, except for a couple of others. I do have a nice long one at my big cutting station, and I keep this little guy nearby just so that I can check my quarter inches and I'm cutting off little itty bitty things. I also have a pair of scissors nearby. I have a couple of sizes of these, but this is a wonderful size to get started. And then you definitely want to have a seam ripper because we will make mistakes even though we are perfect. I have pins nearby because I love using pins, probably because that's just what I've grown up with and used all my life, but I am moving into clips. I also have discovered that I absolutely love these clips that are organizing clips that keep my project straight, and these have become a new love. Over here to the side, I have created a nice ironing station here with my iron ready to go. I have wool mats here, and with my wool mats, I like to cover those. You can see that right now I'm just using a little section because my project is mini. The other last thing you're going to want to have is a hydration of some sort. We can get a little carried away with our quilting and not hydrate. So let's get started with learning about the Stripology rulers. The GE Stripology rulers are the last ruler set you're going to want to buy. The reason why is because they're going to cut 75% of cutting time off of your projects. Then you can get back into what you really want to do, and that's the sewing. How do they do this, you say? Well, we start by noticing that they have half-inch slits. The half-inch slits allow us to be able to cut multiple cuts at the same time. So when we're starting our project, we can lay our width of fabric down, and then we can cut our strips that we can then later subcut into rectangles, squares, whatever we need. We can also use these diagonal lines for doing 45-degree cuts and 60-degree cuts. That means that we can do 45-degree triangles, we can do 45-degree parallelograms, diamonds, and the same thing with 60-degree triangles, diamonds, and parallelograms, making this a very versatile ruler. The slits make it so that we have accuracy and precision every time. The other wonderful thing, and one of my favorite things about these rulers, is that they're squaring rulers. So these black lines here, they're on the whole number. And so if I need to do a 6-inch square, I have that black square right there showing me exactly where I need to go. And I have diagonal lines that are going in either direction. So it's super easy to square up my blocks and find that diagonal line immediately. Over here in the white lines, we have our half-inch squares. So we can actually square with this ruler all the way up to 12.5 inches. That means you don't need a whole bunch of rulers in order to do all your squaring from here on out. They also allow for accuracy because those diagonal lines can hit any half-square triangle that you may have in your block. These are great for both left-handed quilters and right-handed quilters. If you're a left-handed quilter and have trouble using regular rulers, this is the ruler for you. The Stripology ruler also allows us to cut through 4 widths of fabric and comfortably with a 45mm blade, making it nice and fast when we're cutting out all our squares. We can also cut not only in the half-inch increments, but we can also cut in the 1/4-inch increments on this ruler. So if you're doing 2¼ inch binding, you can get that done quickly and accurately with this ruler. The second ruler in the system is the squared ruler. This squared ruler does everything that the XL does, only it's a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit easier to handle. And so it can square all the way up to 12.5 inches. Here you can see that your black lines have your whole numbers right there, and you have your half numbers here in the center. And I forgot to mention on that XL ruler that you have shortcuts down here. So if you're making 2.5-inch strips, you would simply follow the squares that are down here on your ruler. Or if you're doing 1.5 inch, then you have stars here to tell you exactly where to go, and you don't even need to think. The other thing that's nice about this ruler is that you have your 45-degree cuts still. And so you have everything that you need in this ruler that the other ruler has in it, except for the 60-degree angles. I love this one when I'm trimming, and the other one when I'm trimming, because the slots carry or hold up my seam allowances, and so my ruler is not going to rock. So not only do I have the non-slip technology on the back because we're using a creative grid ruler, the nice thing is that the slits are being held up by that seam allowance, so I don't have a rocking motion when I'm doing my squaring, and that helps with my accuracy when I'm squaring my blocks. The next ruler that we have is the squared mini. I have to say that this is definitely my favorite ruler, but I like to do mini blocks. And when I'm starting out my project and my project says, and now square 2, and now square 2, I'm usually squaring like 3.5 or 4.5 inch blocks. And so this is the one I pull out first until I get to 6.5 inches. This ruler is great up to 6.5 inches, but it's also great just to have when I need little fabrics and I'm just trimming little fabrics. This is the perfect ruler for me to have next to my slot. It still has my star down here for my 1.5 inch strips, and it also does 1/8 increments. So I have not only the technology to do my 1/4 inch increments, but I can also do 1/8 increments with this ruler. And then last but not least, we have the squared quarters mini. This ruler it has slots that are every 1/4 inch. Still has our dark squares and our light squares for our halves and our wholes. But you'll notice that now we can go to 2 1/4, we can go to 3 3/4, all the way out to our 6 1/4 inch blocks. And so this ruler definitely has its place and its special power when it comes to doing blocks that are just a little bit wonky and are on the 1/4 inch side. And so this one I don't pull out very often, but when I do, boy does she save the day. Well, that is all 4 rulers, and I haven't even touched on the fact that there's tons and tons of education about stuff I haven't even talked about. For example, you can do the most awesome flying geese with these rulers. I used to hate flying geese, and now I love them because I get the perfect goose every single time. And I don't have to be perfect in my sewing, which makes it so awesome. All the rulers come with a QR code so that you can go straight to the GE Designs website and have a YouTube that will tell you exactly how to use the rulers. Penelope's playground consists of 5 fabrics for the body of the quilt, a border, and another fabric for the appliqué silhouettes. I used scraps of Shannon Minky for the appliqué, so I'm going to walk you through the techniques for appliquéing with Minky in our Putting It Together video in week 5. I drew my inspiration for the colors of my fabrics off of the border fabric. Because this is a kitty cat quilt, I love to choose some kitty cat border. This is an awesome way to play with a 1/2 yard of fabric. So now I'm taking, and I want to make sure that I mark all of my fabrics so that I can keep them straight. I'm also going to be using some gray thread that will blend in the whole quilt together. And then I have stickers and clips everywhere, so I make sure that I have my stickers ready to go. And I have actually used my organizing clips and stickers. That's where these are coming in. And so I have little numbers to show which fabrics I have. And these are on the GE clips. The GE clips come in 2 different sizes, and we have all of the stickers and the clips on our website. And that's all the information you need in the Before You Begin video. We're going to start with Block A really soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can follow all of the videos. And you'll find the pattern as an email link down in the description below. Check out our kits if you want to follow along with the exact same fabrics. See you next time as we get started with this absolutely gorgeous Penelope's Playground. Happy sewing, everyone!